I welcome you to the Ultimate Bootstrap 5 Web Development Series. This course will provide you with everything you need to know for all things Bootstrap 5 and web development. Bootstrap is one of the most powerful frameworks in the world and has been used by companies such as Facebook and Google. I will be leading you through this course. I created this course for anyone interested in learning more about developing and designing websites using Bootstrap 5, also for anybody looking to refresh their Bootstrap skills in general. The ideal student for this course is anyone with a passion for learning more about Bootstrap development and all of its use cases. Feel free to take a look through the course description and ask any questions you may have before enrolling. I am so confident that you will love my course that I am providing a 30-day back full money back guarantee. I look forward to seeing you inside. Hello, in this video we are going to take a look at the difference between Bootstrap 4 and Bootstrap 5. So I'm going to use this website from this article from Design Modo because it's a great article, and instead of trying to figure out all the little differences via the Bootstrap website, this has done it all for us, so we can just go through it. You can either, I'll provide a link to this in the description, you can either just read the article yourself, listen to me just sort of briefly going over it, or both. I recommend both, honestly. The article is great as well. Okay, so the first thing, jQuery has been removed, which is a really popular JavaScript framework. This might shock a lot of people, but it has been removed. They've switched to vanilla JavaScript, which just means plain JavaScript, to do all these little tweaks that allow you to dynamically move stuff around, which it basically helps with the responsive design. There's responsive font sizes now, so not only can you have responsive design in terms of things, the way they lay out and the way they size, but also the font sizes, which is also good. It's dropping Internet Explorer 10 and 11 support, which means no Internet Explorer support at all. The older version of Bootstrap was slowly, removing the older Internet Explorer versions, but now 10 and 11 aren't supported, so nothing supported anymore in terms of IE. If we look at browser W3 school stats, so let's just look at Google does that sometimes where it doesn't load. Strange. Okay, so if we go to browser stats and if we look in 2020, if you look, Edge IE is 3.5%. That's low as it is, and that's Edge and IE. So if we go on this, let's have a look at here. So what? IE 11 and older IE, so it probably isn't 0. It'll be like so low that they ran it to 0, so it's basically less than 1% of users. So not only are you not really losing out much, plus also you got to remember those users probably won't want be using your website anyway, and you'll probably just be on some device a lot of the time somewhere that's at some company, some business potentially. It could be at a home, possibly, that just doesn't really get used that much anymore. Okay, so it's not the end of the world, and it does just means you don't have to worry about IE. Okay, so the gutter width unit of measurement has changed as well, so you can have a look at the exact specifics, but they have been changed. The next thing is card decks have been removed. This was a bit of a shocker for me because I thought this was like a little great design that allows you to encapsulate some information like an image here or maybe a video, some little title about it, but they have now been removed apparently. So the navbar has now been optimized, it has been tweaked. The navbar overall was good, but I did feel like it could have been better. There is a custom SVG icon library. SVG are great because they're scaled vector graphics and fantastic. Okay, so they switched from Jekyll to Hugo, which is a static site generator. For some people, this is a big deal. Some people generally don't really use it. I don't, so it doesn't bother me, but it's worth mentioning. There's been updates to classes, so they've added new features. I'll be covering this in later videos, and that's it. Those are the the updates. Here we go. So there they are. So that's what's different between Bootstrap 4 and 5. The other, difference that hasn't really been mentioned here is overall optimizations. It will have, you'll generally look better and better compatibility with different devices and different sort of sizing that will have been optimized for the different physical devices out there. It should run faster as well. So overall, Bootstrap 5, really looking forward to it. It's only alpha at the moment, and it is 16th of June that it came out, and we're on 22nd of June, are we? 19th. I'm calculating it based off The Last of Us 2 coming out 19th June, which was this Friday, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and this is Tuesday. Yeah, it's 23rd of June, so it's only been 1 week since it's come out. So yeah, I'm going to be creating the most amazing tutorial series for it. Stay tuned for those videos. If you have any questions, as usual, feel free to pop me a message. Message me on Discord. There's a link in the description. Email me, or everything's in the description. So thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hello, in this video we are going to take a look at the compatibility for Bootstrap 5. Bootstrap 5 just came out a week ago on the 16th of June 2020. So this is basically the compatibility. It is saying it is compatible with virtually all browsers out there, and it's compatible with Chrome version 60 or greater, Firefox version 60 or greater. You might be thinking, what about the first 59 versions? If you look like Chrome usage stats, this is the Chrome out here. So as you can see, anything older than like 75 is only 3.1%, and that's for 74 and lower. It's going to be super low, be less than 1%. Okay, same with Firefox. With Edge is 60. Yeah, Edge had to do a weird number. Edge is 16.16299 or greater. iOS is iOS 10 or greater. Safari 10 or greater. Android 6 or greater, which is old. That's super old. But it doesn't support Explorer less than or equal to 11, or Explorer Mobile less than or equal to 11. What that means is Internet Explorer is out, but it does support Edge, and Internet Explorer is less than 1% anyway of the market share, so it is negligible. And here's a bit more of a breakdown of the different support. It says here, unofficially, Bootstrap should look and behave well enough in Chromium and Chrome Linux for Firefox and Firefox for Linux, though they are not officially supported. So it's just saying, though they haven't officially, done any, rigorous tests necessarily on it, it should work fine. IE has been dropped, but if you do want IE support, use Bootstrap 4, and the latest version is 4.5, with 4.5.1 coming soon. So that's it. That's all I wanted to cover, is the compatibility on browsers. If you have any questions, feel free to pop me a message, and as usual, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hello, in this video I am going to cover how to set up a Bootstrap 5 project. So this is the same if you're on Mac, Linux or Windows for development. The process is exactly the same. And okay, so what do you need? First of all, make sure you got a web browser. Pretty much anyone will be fine, ideally one from the compatibility list, because if you're going to be testing it on the web browser, you want it to be compatible. I've got a video covering that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to open up this, and I'm going to Google Bootstrap 5, but I'll provide a link to this so you got everything that you need. And then let's go to here, but again, so this is the alpha, and we're going to go to download. So there's a few different ways that we can set it up. First of all, we go to get started. We can set it up using the quick start using a CDN, which is a content delivery network, and the CSS and the JavaScript files that are required by Bootstrap 5 are stored on some online server, and it pulls them really fast. So to do that, we literally copy and paste this. So you will also need a editor. You can use something like Sublime, which is a quick editor. You can use something like Brackets, which is a bit more full-fledged in terms of an IDE, and or you can use something else, you know, if you have another preference. So you can use Sublime, you can use Brackets. I'll be using Brackets in this case. Both are free, so it is fantastic. Okay, so we are going to open up Brackets, and I'm gonna go to open folder and go to desktop. I want to create it here. I want to call it Bootstrap. Call it whatever you want, your project. And okay, there's nothing in here currently. We need a new file. I'm going to call this index.html. So remember, index.html is going to be the default that one is going to be launched up, or a index.php file, potentially a home.html, but index is the main one. Okay, so what we want to do now is copy and paste this. Copy it properly. And save it. And if we were to go to desktop and launch up, if you literally just double click that, it launches it up. That's it, that's all there is. Let's inspect it, make sure that there's no errors in the console. There is not. And we are using a Bootstrap now. Now let me just quickly go over what the code is doing. So again, this is not a lesson on HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. I'm going to briefly glance over it. This is just the doc type for HTML, indicating it's a HTML5 file. This is the opening HTML tag with a corresponding closing tag, and this is where all your code will reside. And we specified it, or the default code has specified a language of EN, which is English. You can specify something different if you want to. There's a head tag where you put all your metadata and any linkage that you have to stuff like CSS files, which is cascading style sheets, aka the way your website looks. So this is loading up the Bootstrap 5 style sheet. And there's just some stuff for the viewport. This is just helps with the responsive design, and a character set, which is the default UTF-8. The title, this is, if I say that and reload, that is what appears in the tab bar. I'll undo that. And in the body is the meat of your website, what you're actually seeing within here. If we go here, we got a H1 tag with hello world in there. Then after that, we've got, you know, the script tags. So we have one for Popper, and we have one for the Bootstrap JavaScript file. So this is the bare minimum that you need to get going. So there is another way of setting up Bootstrap. Instead of a CDN, locally storing the files ourselves. So if we go to download, and then from here, we can go to download. It is downloading it. I'm just going to click that. And in here, we have the file. Really, all we need is one of the JS files and one of the CSS files. So the JS file, I mean, the CSS, really, you know, there's different ones. There's, you know, a reboot version. I mean, there's a min version. There's a regular. It totally depends on what you want. So if you want the, I'll just like to say the regular Bootstrap, copy that. Actually, you know what? I will copy both of these. I will go to desktop, go to Bootstrap, paste them here, and some nice organization, and I will select all except for bootstrap.css and delete. I will do the same for JS. I will select all except for bootstrap.js and delete. Okay, so what that means is, okay, so this is giving us some information. So you can either skip the download and go to Bootstrap CDN. If you're using our compiled JavaScript, don't forget to include popper.js via CDN, preferably before our JavaScript. So they do recommend that for Popper that you use the CDN, which will, you know, we will keep to that format. So to modify this, So instead of having this big href, you see this bootstrap min.css. So instead of that, you want to put css / there we go, and that's it. And that's the file right there. And we need to include the JavaScript file now. Again, Papa we are leaving, so we need to get rid of that. JS, and there we go. So if we save that, reload it, and this has messed up. Let's have a look at what the problem is. Access to CSS style sheet from origin no has been blocked by CORS policy. Okay, so I think it's the integrity thing. Okay, so there we go. Because it's a local file, we don't need to do all those integrity checks. It's just when it's online, and we can get rid of it here as well. There we go. All errors have now disappeared. We can ignore the warnings. So it's DevTools failed to load because you can't load content for that file. So you could leave those map files in there. They're just some DevTools. But that's it. There we go. We have Bootstrap all set up. So I will provide you with the source code for this version and the CDN version as well. And you can go whichever method you want. If you have any questions, feel free to pop me a message as usual. And I look forward to seeing you in the next awesome video.